Hi, and welcome to this month's version 1 Microsoft licensing update. I believe this is our birthday as we first kicked off this fireside chat recording. I think it was in February 2022. So happy birthday, everybody. So as we do each month, we go through any of the key changes from Microsoft's licensing terms. We'll also dip into any licensing updates that might be included within the various different Microsoft licensing briefs, should I say, that exist out there on the web, or that are published by Microsoft. So this month, a few changes to report on. Niamh, what did you find from your side?
Well, I looked at the headline one, which was for audio services, and it's where Microsoft clarify that Operator Connect, which is an online SKU within audio services, that it includes Operator Connect for Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Teams Mobile. Or Teams Phone Mobile. So what does that actually mean? And it means basically where, Microsoft clarify that if you're using Operator Connect, that from a data privacy point of view, that they will share your data with the operator and third-party operator who's providing kind of those like as part of the telephony services. So they're just asking basically that, look, it is included with Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Teams Mobile, and to check, the privacy terms according to your operator, basically. And then the second one that was on the product terms as of the February 1st update. So Exchange Online, and this is an interesting one because I know from dealing with customers where they had licensed Exchange Online archiving for licensees of F3s, and I didn't know that Microsoft probably didn't have Exchange Online Kiosk in their kind of archiving core features. They did have Exchange Online Plan 1 and Exchange Online Plan 2, but they've included Exchange Online Kiosk, which comes as part of like an F3, Microsoft F3 license, and that's essentially to say that you can use Exchange Online archiving and any of the core features that come with that, and that's particularly important for the likes of kind of legal hold and discovery of deleted mailboxes and things like that. So good to know. So that's pretty much it from me, Carl.
Okay, cool. So Richard, on Azure, I know you've had a chance to have a look at the Azure updates for this month. So what have you seen?
Yeah, so in this month, Microsoft added just some terms relating to the launch of Azure Communications Gateway and Azure Private 5G Core. So maybe we can just quickly touch on what Azure Communication Gateway is. It's simply a managed cloud-based voice gateway that simplifies connecting operator fixed and mobile voice networks to Teams phones. So it provides voice and IT integration with Microsoft Teams across both fixed and mobile networks. So what does this change mean? It means that this change is available only for use by telecoms service providers, um, irrespective of what's in the customer's volume licensing agreement. Um, then they mentioned that Microsoft also has no defense obligations or liability for any infringement claim for patents alleged to be infringed by the implementation of any standards in Azure Communications Gateway. So essentially, this is just adding some additional terms around the launch of this new service, and how it kind of layers in with Microsoft Teams.
Interesting. So that's a new one for me.
Mhm.
So William, on your side, anything interesting to report on?
Yeah, a couple of items. So the first one's they've added Windows 365 to the list of core online services. Broken down, this means it's only the cloud portion of Windows 365, which essentially is a cloud service anyway. But it excludes the actual desktop operating system, which means so when you when Windows 365 joins, it joins the other online services as being essentially SOC 1, SOC 2 compliant, and that Microsoft can now state categorically that when you deploy a Windows 365 tenant, it's deployed in the geolocation that you select, and that the customer's data will be at rest within that specific geolocation. So whether it's US or I don't know, Singapore or UK or something like that. So it just brings it in line with the rest of the Office 365 and Power Platform, Azure, etc. Geolocation classifications. And the second really interesting one is they've added universal print volume add-on SKU to the availability table. So it just means it's the universal print services available via a broader cross range of subscriptions as the entry point.
Interesting. So from my side, I suppose the key change that I looked at was the retirement of a much loved software asset management benefit, or sorry, should I say software assurance benefit, the 24/7 problem resolution support benefit, which when I sold software assurance many moons ago, this was a key selling point of software assurance. So for those who are familiar with the benefit, in effect, what it allowed you to do was to obtain break fix phone incidents where Microsoft products were in mainstream support. It also included this luxury of being able to convert some of those incidents into problem resolution hours if you held a Premier support agreement with Microsoft. So the retirement of this key benefit has been signposted by Microsoft, I think back in September of 2019. This is as far back as it goes. And I know that that date has been pushed out on a couple of occasions. Can't remember how many off the top of my head. So it's a well signposted retirement. It'll be interesting to see, what customers do in place of this benefit. There is a history there of some customers not knowing that the benefit existed, and they've been rolling it over on a yearly basis and not really properly exercising the entitlement. But there are organizations out there who've leveraged this benefit to the best of their ability over the last number of years within their enterprise agreement or depending on how they've obtained software assurance. This might, be a prompt for some organizations to look at unified support from Microsoft, which is the newer version of Premier support, which obviously we know as well, Premier support is going end of life this year. One kind of key throwaway when it comes to looking at unified support, it's really important that organizations take the time to carefully evaluate that as a support option. That could potentially include unforeseen cost as a byproduct of not being properly in control of your licensing spend. So if you're looking to get your head around unified support and what that looks like, from a cost perspective, and some of the things to think about, do reach out to us here at the software asset management practice at version 1. We've got some insights on that front that we can share with you. I also had a look into the Power Platform licensing guide this month. So, we generally talk about key licensing changes within the Microsoft product terms, but it's also interesting, to have a dip into the actual licensing guides for various different products from Microsoft, just to understand if there's any changes in there that might be of interest to some organizations. So a couple of small ones really here to report on. First was on the AI Builder rate card. So Microsoft have updated that rate card. So if you're using AI Builder to automate routine tasks or to assist with decision making, it might be worth your while checking out that rate card just in case there's an impact on your organization from a cost perspective. I'll include it in the blog. There's a very useful calculator there from Microsoft that helps you estimate AI Builder costs, which you can have a dip into. If you're not using AI Builder today, might be an interesting proposition for you to look at. And then the other one was just on managed environments, which provide basically greater administrative reporting and analytics for Power Platform environments. The licensing guide alludes to in various places managed environment capabilities and how they can only be used within the app context for Dynamics 365. So that basically just points to how managed environment capabilities are included, with the Dynamics 365 license, and the licensing guide just gives a little bit more context as to what those capabilities are. So one to have a look out for if you're using that managed environments capability. So I think that pretty much wraps things up for today's Microsoft monthly licensing update. If you have any questions or queries from today's session, do feel free to reach out to the software asset management practice here at version 1. We'd be delighted to help. And until next month's update, we will see you then. And do watch out for some of the forthcoming fireside chats and blogs that we'll be pushing out on all things Microsoft licensing related. So thanks everybody for today's input, and chat soon.